Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 21 today for the Brazilian Grand Prix in Season 1, the penultimate round of this season, and we're going to dive straight into some admin for this episode due to the sponsor renewal. So you can see both our sponsors, Sudo and Lunga, I think it was, are both up for renewal, and they're the same two sponsors that we signed that had the same goal of getting the fastest lap in a session, and that both of them got pretty decent goal for what was asked for us. And I genuinely wanted to look around and see what other sponsors there were. Were there some ones that we could go for a little bit different? Because, you know, we've had those two sponsors now for about 2/3 of the season. At least with Sudo, we signed them at the Hungarian Grand Prix, I think it was. So about halfway through the season then. And Lunga a little bit more recently. But honestly, at this stage of our career, where the car is, this is the best thing we can go. So basically, I've just renewed them for another term, so they're going to be with us into Season 2. I was a little bit disappointed because I did want to kind of get a new sponsor in for the sake of the new season, but of course we'll get a new title sponsor because Shark will be finishing with us at the end of this year, and so we'll get a new title sponsor. That will be different enough. But for where the car is right now, honestly, the goals that are there, a lot of them are just a little bit too unobtainable, and I really just want to go for realistic ones that we can actually get because, you know, you're going to get more money that way by shooting a little bit lower. Kind of shooting for the stars with the sponsor goals doesn't really work as it does with you know, maybe your like life goals or whatever. Not trying to get too deep here, but you know, it doesn't work quite the same way because you won't get the money otherwise. So we're just going to go for the more obtainable goals there of those two sponsors, and we're going to go from there. But of course, we'll get a new title sponsor. But we go on from those sponsors. Talk about money. We mentioned last episode the topic of getting a brand new teammate going into Season 2, and I gave you guys a vote. Now, I will admit, the straw poll vote was only put into the comment section in the description like 2 or 3 hours after I uploaded the video. I'm not going to beat around the bush, not going to lie to you. I uploaded the video, went down to the pub, and I forgot to put the straw poll in the description. So, apologies there. At least I finally got reminded by someone on Twitter whilst I was checking my phone at the pub, and I put the straw poll back in. And so, it's maybe not as many votes as there has been in previous votes, but it's still enough at this stage to give me a good idea. You can see there 62% to 38% of you think that we should be saving money for the teammate, and I don't think that's going to be swung, to be honest, even if I leave the vote to go on for a little bit longer. I will, though, and I'll check it again, but I highly doubt it'll swing. If it does, I'll update you, but it looks like we're going to save money for the teammate. But kind of branching away from that kind of point of discussion of the teammate, we did discuss also last episode about, you know, investing in the personnel, and a load of you were actually recommending that to me, that you guys have done that, and that's been quite powerful for you guys for the teammate. So I thought, if we are going to save money for the teammate, we should spend some money on the personnel, because I know it counteracts what I'm just saying about saving money, but if you get what I mean, there's no point signing the teammate and then having no personnel here to help improve him, because over the course of next season, if we do sign a good new teammate, we want to keep on improving him, so he kind of, you know, keeps on matching where I am, at least, even pushing me to do better myself, because I always do definitely better when I've got a teammate that's actually right there with me, pushing me to go even faster and on the edge of my limit. So I'm going to invest in the personnel for the very first time in this entire career. It's taken 21 episodes, but we're finally here. We're going to spend 2 million on the brand new simulator, so that will straight away improve the pace of the teammate in general, and because it will come in actually before the end of next episode, it'll actually start to improve Jack Aiken straight away, so we'll kind of see maybe a little bit of a glimpse of how powerful the personnel upgrades can be. But 2 million, it's not that bad, and we're earning, you know, near enough 1 million per race on bonuses, 1 million per episode on weekly income. We're going to almost make that back by the time we get to next episode. And also, one thing I forgot about was we do obviously get a massive bonus payout from Shark, and also for finishing 6th in the Constructors, so that'll be quite useful as well. So we will have a lot of cash actually to play around with, maybe for that teammate purchase, and then going on for the rest of the car. So we can afford to maybe buy that personnel and kind of see the benefits of it right now, and then going on to next season. But as we move through, then you may have seen I adapted that final major chassis upgrade which we had pending. So now everything on the engine side and chassis side has been adapted. The only thing that's left to be adapted is the durability and obviously the Honda free upgrades, which I can't adapt because they're from Honda, so I can't do that. So we've got a few more R&D points left over for this season, so we may as well spend them a little bit. So I thought we'd purchase another drag reduction update, a minor one on the aero side. Remember, aero is not being reset. I did think about the second aero upgrade, but instead, I'm going to do something a little bit cheeky here. we're going to go ahead and purchase this minor weight reduction upgrade. Now, it will get reset, so I'm going to have to buy this for like just over or just under 700 resource points. I'm going to then have to adapt it for half that price. Then we'll have that upgrade for next season, and we've made progress on the chassis side. We're going to also try for the very first time, we've got Spec 2 on the chassis side, so for the first time ever in this career, I can try the rushed development. So basically, there's a higher chance of failure, but if it does come in, we can rush this upgrade, and it might come in time for this very Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix. So we've tried the rush upgrade for the first time. Let's see if it comes in. Knowing my luck, it won't. But essentially, the reason why I've done that, even though we technically are spending more resource points than we have to on a minor chassis upgrade, because the chassis is getting reset and all the other teams are way ahead of us on the chassis side, I think they've got more to lose, i.e. they're going to have to spend more, and so they might not actually be able to afford to adapt everything on their chassis R&D tree. So if we adapt everything we've got on the chassis, maybe, just maybe, we can try and leapfrog a load of teams if they do not have enough resource points themselves to adapt all their stuff. Because I'm hoping that basically that all their trees are quite developed, because that's why they're so far ahead of us on the chassis side. And hopefully that just means that we'll be able to gain a bit more than they're able to basically keep for next season, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm going to that. Maybe seems a little bit out there, might not work, might backfire in my face, but you got to go for these things. We now move through into the activity timeline. We've got a lot of time till the Brazilian Grand Prix, so choosing 4 different activities to do. We've got the chassis equipment upgrade on the left-hand side, a fundraiser for the sponsors, driver promotion filming, and then I didn't really know what to do here. We had a 2-dayer or a 3-dayer between durability, team building, and then the morale or the upgrades, and one of them decreased the morale of the others, and then one did not, but we had to spend some money, so I just went with that because I don't want to decrease the morale of any department, really. I think so far this season I've managed to get through all the interviews and all the activities, but without kind of making any of the departments negative morale. They've always either been like kind of neutral, like 0%, or I've boosted the morale to kind of, you know, obviously improve the kind of efficiency that they could maybe bring to upgrades. But as we swing through then the week, we're just pausing here just to check through the R&D updates. So we've got another free upgrade from Honda. I wasn't too sure what one it was though. I think it might be on the reliability side, because I think all those performance ones have already been there. I think it's this very right-hand side one, which is going to get reset, but fair play to Honda, they keep on bringing free updates for us. At least I know next season Honda will be bringing the same upgrades again. As we move through then the timeline, like I said, what did I say? Knowing us, the rush development would fail. So the first time we tried to rush through an R&D part, it did fail, so we have to go ahead and rebuy that again. So we're kind of wasting more money further to rebuy that for Abu Dhabi. So I know we're plundering a lot of R&D, but where am I else am I going to spend it? I've only got one more upgrade on the aero side, which I can purchase, and that's a DRS upgrade. So in hindsight, it's really not going to cost us that much in terms of wasted R&D. In terms of, okay, yeah, maybe I could save up the R&D for next season's start, but I just thought I'd go for this. It's a bit of a wild goose chase right now because of that failed upgrade, but just let me have this one. So we move through then just before the Brazilian Grand Prix. We get another batch of sponsor money, so I went ahead and bought another upgrade of the personnel, the fitness center, so that'll improve the racecraft of our teammates. So we're going to have 2 personnel upgrades before the end of the season, which I think is really decent. That's a good foundation, good enough for now for where we are as a team and where we are in terms of looking at our teammate development, as it were. So now we are ready to go towards the Brazilian Grand Prix into Q1, this second last race weekend of the season. Always enjoy Brazil. It's sometimes quite a difficult Grand Prix for me. You know, turns 1 and 2 are very tricky with the AI. They're very good around there, and also at times they're just a lot better at tyre wear than I am. But also, on the flip side, it can just be a very chaotic Grand Prix. Plenty of overtaking here, some nice battles. So, all in all, looking forward to it on this game. And the car is just feeling better and better as we improve it with little upgrades here and there, basically, compared to our competitors. Also then wary again, Brazil is one of those circuits where I kind of feel like it's almost like Catalonia again. It's a bit more of a thoroughbred circuit. You've got so much undulation, so much more force in through the car, and our car just seems to go better at all the flat circuits. It may be a weird theory, but I just think it does. So I'm also worried that maybe qualifying might be hard. It's obviously also hard to qualify anyway around Sao Paulo because I lose a little bit of time, well, a lot of time actually through the first 2 turns, definitely to the AI quite consistently. But as we go on through the second flyer in Q1, getting about 7/10 there over the lap, much better lap there for us second time round. It's up into P8, obviously though it's early days, Q1 doesn't really count for much as long as we're through into the second part of qualifying there. But McLaren's running high once again, it would seem, and the racing points actually seem a little bit slow there. I think both of them made it through into Q2, but Lance Stroll 14th, I think Perez came 15th there. So maybe we've got a bigger, better chance to be fighting racing points again. Obviously we did last episode, but last one was quite unique. At Mexico, we had that kind of tyre difference, and the tyre wear came in, and the kind of different strategy compared to most people. So we had the kind of advantage there, whereas this time I don't think that will be the case come race day. But we're now into Q2 on our flying lap, and it was an okay first sector, but into the last sector, making a mistake there, way too deep into that corner, and you saw there dipping a tyre in the grass. I had to kind of lift off to make sure we didn't spin out the car on the last sector, so we lost a good amount of time. Like, I'm talking a good at least half a second there, so that's a big mistake for us. That's our only lap here in Q2, because I only had one fresh set of soft tyres because I had to use 2 in Q1. So in the end of it, it's a disappointing day on Saturday as we qualify stone dead last in Q2, P16. You can see the time difference there to Kvyat, so that was a big mistake for us. Can't be making those, especially when we're trying to fight these guys for some, really decent positions in P12 to 13, to set ourselves up well for another points-paying race. So we're going to try and make a bit of a kamikaze lap 1 and opening kind of stint to make sure we get those positions to make up the blunder. And like I said, I don't know what the race strategy might be like, so we might be kind of quite, it might be quite tough to do something different to challenge these guys, but just got to make up for it then. Let's go to Sunday, see how we do.
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the 2 DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Jack Aitken. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen, and Albon. Norris, Ricciardo, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon. Perez, Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kvyat. The owner driver, Sainz, Kimi Raikkonen, and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Russell, Aitken, and Nicholas Latifi. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so Sainz and the McLaren has handed a grid penalty, so we're up 1 position then in P15, but it's very overcast here, but no rain forecast for the race, thankfully. I don't think I would really like rain at this circuit, at least not now, my first experience of this circuit. But race strategy-wise, a little bit disappointing. It's a 1-stop. I thought Brazil would have had it higher a tyre wear to be a 2-stop here on this game, but it looks like it's a 1-stop from softs to hards, although it's a very similar strategy from the first one to second, so that is a little bit iffy. Like, that might actually suggest that maybe this isn't actually maybe the best strategy. Maybe a 2-stop could work, but we're going to commit to this initial 1-stop soft to mediums, and we'll just play it out and see how it goes, basically. But it's just going to be about a really good start in this opening lap, trying to make up those 3-4 positions that we kind of maybe lost out to in qualifying. But it might be one of those races where we're not fighting for the very high positions, but maybe just P9 to P10. But even if that is the case, as always, we're going to fight as hard as we can for those positions and try and just bring the car home home ahead of our rivals as we go to 5 red lights for the second last race of the season. The Brazilian Grand Prix is underway, wasting no time with lights going out, and it's a very slow start for both AlphaTauris and Giovinazzi, and we've had a storming start for maybe 5 overtakes nearly, but Kvyat, if you saw there on the left-hand side, Kvyat dived down the inside and got 4 places back, so we were going to be on to overtake 5 cars, but instead it was 4 because Kvyat really overtook me down the inside there. But still a blistering start. The 2 Ferraris are side by side for P2 and 3. That's going to be crucial for the championship fight. Remember, Leclerc is trying to chase down Hamilton in the standings, so at the moment Leclerc is finishing ahead of Hamilton in this Grand Prix on this opening lap there. So if it continues to be that way, this could be a very tasty finale for the championship for the AI guys. But we dive down the inside of Sergio Perez and catch him behind Stroll. A little bit slow there on the outside as we go down the crest, trying to find the grip and the traction there. Perez leaves us the room. We use overtake mode and now pincer it down the inside. Still side by side, going to squeeze them out as we open up the steering wheel, use some more overtake mode, and we're up the order once again on another car there, another rival of ours, as we try our best to get in the fight in the Monks Racing Point. Of course, next season, this is exactly where I hope we're fighting. I hope we're fighting consistently with Racing Point and McLaren for those kind of, best of the rest positions, and maybe even Red Bull if they are falling away as much as they have been in the last few episodes. But now onto lap number 2, trying to fight Stroll, but he's trying to overtake a Fiat at the same time. Massive lock up there from the Canadian. It was all quite close. Has got boxed in into turn 1 by those 2, so instead having to hang back in P11, using plenty of overtake mode in rich mix. But Perez looking very quick indeed this opening stage of the race. He tries to go around the outside. We go defensive there, just trying to place the car as quickly as we can without making too much of an issue with him and kind of forcing him out wide or whatever like that. And now the engine is overheating a tad. It's going to go down to lean mixture, and it's also a little bit worn because we've got a worn control electronics, but that doesn't actually affect the performance as such. It will just wear out all the other parts a little bit, so that's the only thing there, but not to worry too much. But as we now go through onto lap number 3, using a lot of overtake mode and making a very late dive on Stroll there. Little bit of close bit of contact there. Didn't really mean to force the move, but Stroll was going so slow into the apex that I kind of just had to make the move, otherwise I was just going to crash him out basically as we now overtake him. But look at Perez storming through. He's really fancying this fight with us, and he goes down the inside. So as we overtook his teammate, he overtakes his teammate and also tries to get us there in a 2-for-1 deal, but we're saying no as we continue to fight round the outside. The swing on the left, it's going to be DRS open for both of us there, I think. Yes, it is. And so it's a drag race in a straight line. Stroll's also close behind. McLaren and Renault fighting behind as well, so lots of battles going all the way down this field. But at the moment Perez leads the way, then P10. We're back down to P11, but we use a lot of overtake mode as we go through up the hill into sector 2, still fighting on the exit. It's a squirm for Perez. He tries to control the car, and now this is going to be almost half a lap side by side. This is a fantastic battle that is brewing with Sergio Perez in the Racing Point car. We continue to fight him. We can't quite get it to the inside there, but we're not going to worry about that because we can just stick behind him here and use him as a good kind of tow line basically up the hill. So we kind of almost want to be behind him at this point in the circuit as we just try and find our way on the right hand side. Perez goes very defensive into that corner, almost inviting me to go around the outside of the left-hander. Instead we stick behind, switch it to the left-hand side now, and he's really wobbling about in a straight line as well. Perez really going to the limit of his car, it would seem, in a straight line as well in terms of car control. But we get the job done. DRS open into turn 1, lock up on the front left, go a little bit wide and deep into the corner. Then we make the second part and we're back up into P10, and finally I think we'll push away with DRS, ERS as well used on the exit. And we look behind, yes, we have pushed away from Sergio Perez, and now lap number 5, the purple first sector on this lap, closing up to the Russian Kvyat, who made an absolute dive bomb and a half that I would be so proud of if I did it into lap 1, turn 1. I overtook him initially, and then he just absolutely send one on the inside of that opening lap to not only re-overtake me, but also the 2 Racing Point cars at the time. But here we are then, easy does it in a straight line. He's on the hard tyres as well, so we really should be overtaking him. We've got the tyre advantage of 2 compounds there, and that's why it's also easier to turn 1 to get the job done. And also the AlphaTauri these days is on paper apparently the slower car than us. I say apparently because of course we know that the R&D chart is a little bit of a lie at times, but definitely we've got the pace there to overtake him, and so does Perez and Sainz. You can see on the top left they've both got the Russian, but now we've got Perez back for company again. We don't put up much of a fight here. because I will admit, at this stage of the race, I thought lap 9, we've got about 3-4 seconds to Ricciardo, and I do feel like we should be able to reel Ricciardo in eventually in this race. So I thought, why don't I let Perez through and try and, again, maybe use him as a bit of a tow line like we've done for a few times this season with other cars. But honestly, it didn't actually work, and by the time we get to lap 11, he just slowed up because he started hitting tyre wear. So it's kind of the ebb and flow of this first stint, I guess, as it is sometimes in F1 as well. You know, sometimes on one part of the stint, you're faster than the car ahead, and then you start to hit tyre wear yourself. I guess that's exactly what happened to Perez here, because I'm reeling him back in now on lap 11 with DRS here. Purple first sector for us, so again, going well in sector 1, but we're going to just basically have to re-overtake him, because now he's going to slow us up if we don't overtake him. So as we go through the end of that same lap then, going to size this up, bit of wheel spin on the exit as we try and activate the overtake mode, but we got it done, and now we're going to have DRS as well. Rich Schmicks engaged, and hopefully I think this should be a slam dunk overtake then for P9, and then I guess we'll just continue our best on trying to close up to Ricciardo somewhat as we go through into turn 1. Perez does put up more of a fight than I wanted him to, and we're still neck and neck, so he really is loving a good fight with us. Obviously we had that absolute ding-dong one earlier, but that was also quite similar. I didn't really expect that. Like I said, I thought it would have been a slam dunk one, but no, eventually we get it, and we're back up into P9. You can see the gap to Ricciardo's 3 seconds, so we have, as a team, me and Perez, gained 1 second on Ricciardo there, but we didn't gain as much as I wanted or thought we could. But Ricciardo's now in, as well as Verstappen then, a load of other people. Our pit stop window does open, so we continue on for 1 more lap, so begging the overcut strategy versus Ricciardo could work. He could gain some time on him, but let's see. That was a pretty okay lap, in-lap on the middle sector. Sector 1 was a little bit slow with the red sector, but green in the second, so let's just see how this goes. Hopefully our pit crew have a nice speedy pit stop. As you can see, the McLaren of Norris is in, along with Albon there ahead of us, and unfortunately this time we're nowhere near fighting the McLarens, I would say, of Norris. Maybe Sainz, because obviously Sainz is behind us, having taken that grid penalty, but Norris too far away, unlike the Mexican Grand Prix there, so it's all about our fight with Perez, Sainz maybe, and Ricciardo as we try and catch him. And you can see here, we come out, and he is only just 1 second ahead of us, so we have gained a lot on this pit stop window here. And look at that, Jack Aitken, our teammate, is ahead of Ricciardo, and he's going longer in this Grand Prix because he started on a set of medium, so he can do us a solid and hold up Ricciardo, and that's exactly what he did. Lap number 16, for the first time really this season, we're working as a team with my teammate, because I've hardly seen Schumacher or Aitken any time we've obviously raced with them, but this time now Aitken's actually doing me a solid. Look at this round the outside there, what an overtake, so awesome on the outside. It's nearly flat out in qualifying, not so in the race with the heavier fuel, but we just managed to do it with overtake mode engaged the entire time. Lovely overtake there, DRS open, and Aitken gets out of the way straight after that, so that was pitch perfect in terms of our teammate holding up Ricciardo and allowing us to overtake him. But now as we move on all the way to lap 22 then, and Sergio Perez is coming on, knocking at our door in this GP. We've overtaken Ricciardo, they've also overtaken Ricciardo I should say, with Perez and Sainz past him. Ricciardo really fell away for a little bit there at the start of that stint, so now we're just locked into a battle once again with Perez as we go down the inside. Nice camera angle for once to look at the rear wing, the only time that camera angle is useful in any way, shape or form on the replay cameras, and we get Perez back again for P12, but him and Perez are right up our chuff, so we're going to do a lot of defending here the rest of this GP to hold this position as Perez goes down our inside, and Perez has hit us! Perez tried to take us out, we've had to go opposite lock, we drifted through the corner, we're now side by side with Carlos Sainz and Perez. What on earth happened there? His head went and the red mist just descended. He just decided to dive bomb us when the position was definitely not on. As we now get back down the inside of Sainz with overtake mode there, down the crest, becoming our favourite corner to overtake cars, it would seem, here at Sao Paulo. But Perez, what on earth was that? I will never know. The AI sometimes, I mean, fair play, they are very aggressive, very human-like in their aggression, but sometimes it is quite baffling what they try. But here we go then, down the inside. Remember, you can see he's on medium, so technically at this stage he is the faster car, but as we're fighting all the time here, his tyres are wearing out much more than ours. I say ours, i.e. mine and Sainz's, so eventually I would say Perez should back down and he should feel the tyre wear to the point where we should be able to comfortably hold him off. But let's have a look at a replay here from off board from the replay cameras, and you can see here a massive drift there, a bit of a tank slapper, having to try and really control the car and keep it in a straight line, because if I didn't control it I would have just span, because I had so much momentum into that corner basically to try and rotate the car right. But look at this, Huge dive from Perez. He goes opposite lock to save his own car, but in doing so, he's basically turning into me and spinning me round right here as he tries to control his own car. So very aggressive start there from Sergio Perez, almost taking us out at the Brazilian GP. So that would have been a bit of a shame, really, after all the great battling we did. But thankfully not. But yeah, this race is pretty much the battle with Sergio Perez, and put up a great start. Maybe he knows we could technically maybe sign him as a teammate. He's in that kind of 9.05 million region that we looked at in the driver market. So maybe he's trying to advertise himself as a very aggressive teammate driver. I don't know. But we move through onto lap 26 then. 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Sainz has now overtaken Perez, and Perez is really feeling the tyre wear. So the complete wrong strategy for Racing Point to put both their cars on medium tyres in a very audacious one-stop. But here on lap 26, Sainz overtakes us very easily in a straight line. Now, I didn't put up much of a fight there with Rich Mix or overtake mode. I go again here with overtake mode, trying to maybe close up to him into this right-hander. But honestly, I thought actually I had the pace to keep up with Sainz, and I thought, oh, I could just get him back basically on the next lap. But as you're about to see, we're going to move through only 3 laps later, and he's absolutely just bolted. So I underestimated how quick that McLaren actually still is in this career of ours. So we've got a long way to go to actually going toe-to-toe with him. On the same tyre compound, same sort of strategy, he just had the pace over us. So at this stage now, we've settled down to P9. Perez behind me, he's falling away even more so to the point where now Ricciardo, you can see on the top left, is overtaking him there. So Ricciardo is coming back in this Grand Prix, and so we're through onto the last lap of the race. Valtteri Bottas has won this one. I think Leclerc has finished ahead of Hamilton, so I think this is going to go all the way down to the wire for the Drivers' Championship between Leclerc and Hamilton. But we come home in a pretty hard-fought P9, to be fair, because we fought Perez so hard in the opening stint there. Probably one of the best battles I've had so far this season, actually, going side by side with him for like a whole lap, basically. And like I said, it's a hard-fought P9. It's only a P9, but it's a hard-fought one. These more thoroughbred circuits, I think we just don't have the true pace to still get the high, best of the rest points. And so this is the best we could do, but still happy with it and enjoy that race nonetheless.
Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Ant, talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So there you might have heard, I think Mercedes have become the official Constructors' Champions of our first season of this My Team career mode, so kudos to them. But the Drivers' Championship continues on. Leclerc there did finish ahead of Hamilton, a crucial P2 to his P3, and so that means the Drivers' Championship continues to go on till the final race at Abu Dhabi. Only 2 points in it between those two, I think, now in the Drivers' standings. So Leclerc's done a pretty big job there, because Hamilton's got the fast lap of the Grand Prix as well, so Leclerc must have just done a great job at getting track position and then defending against Hamilton that entire time there, but 2 points in it. We remain in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Sainz, though, is closing up to us after overtaking us in that race, but in the Constructors, the main thing for our team is we're still doing a mega job. Obviously, we've got Ricciardo there, Ocon was behind us, and so we're remaining in P6. McLaren, though, with Norris scoring quite high in that race, does well to put them ahead of Racing Point, so that's a battle to watch as well between basically our future competitors, hopefully, next season. But yeah, going to Abu Dhabi, only 2 points in it. I really love the fact that for us personally, our AI have been so close here in every regard, like the midfield fights, the lower fights, and at the top here with Hamilton v Leclerc, 2 points in it, going down to the wire for a championship decide on the final race, straight away season 1. You love to see it. Hopefully it continues, and hopefully we can join them, you know, in like 2 seasons time or whatnot, when our car is finally able to fight for multiple race victories in a season. But at the end of this episode then, we get over $1 million in the bonuses as per usual for getting both the kind of fast lap bonuses and then the finishing in the top 10 bonus goal, and so that means we get a total of 8.31 million. So now we literally won't spend any money at the start of next episode. We'll save as much as we can till the end, into the kind of break before the end of the season, and see what we can do on the teammate side of things. But guys, if you did enjoy this episode, a great race and an amazing battle with Perez, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're already around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.